we have the cancel culture, but I believe that there is the correction culture.
Well, breakfast is going to look a little different for people who are big fans, who grew up on and loved Aunt Jemima, because she is now officially out. You know, of course, that PepsiCo, which owns the brand, made the change this week, and it's risky when you have something that's really
it's a go-to. It was a go-to.
It's the name brand. It's sort of like if Levi, it's the Levi's of syrup.
Or Charles, it would be like Coca-Cola changing its name.
Exactly. So what is this going to end up costing them? Time to follow the money. And you know what that means. We're bringing in our buddy DAYMOND JOHN from Shark Tank. DAYMOND, welcome back. Let's talk syrup.
Hey, DAYMOND.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Is there a difference here between the short game and the long game when a company changes a name like this?
We love to talk about following the money where there's a profit or where there's a potential loss or there is, some reason why it's being done. I think there's a lost opportunity here. This is one of the great areas because, we have the cancel culture, but I believe that there is the correction culture. If the real story about the person who came up with, Aunt Jemima and or the recipe is a woman named Nancy Green that was born into slavery. But this is about history of somebody you didn't know who we should know. And I think that this time PepsiCo could have said, hey, Black colleges and various other organizations come up with the new direction or the way to highlight this amazing story about an entrepreneur of color that has been on your breakfast table for 100 years that you didn't know of.
So you're saying instead of changing the name and the logo, which if you haven't heard by now is now the Pearl Milling Company, is the new brand name, that they should have done this in a way where they celebrated Nancy Green, and that way they don't have to change, don't have to lose this incredibly valuable brand.
Fascinating.
Yeah, that's what I think. But listen, I don't know enough information, maybe because Nancy Green was not named Aunt Jemima, neither were the two other people who, women who portrayed the part. So I can understand the Aunt Jemima part, but maybe it's the aunt, or maybe it's just Jemima. But you also have an IP issue here. You have an intellectual property. They're going to have to use that name in some categories or in that category for a long period of time to keep it, because that name has billions of dollars behind it. They're not going to just let that name go away, because then all of a sudden I'll take it and now you're going to start seeing Aunt Jemima t-shirts. But they still have to have that name. So this is tricky. I believe that they have an opportunity to educate a lot of people and empower a lot of young women to realize that they could be born in crazy circumstances, yet make millions of dollars, and their family and their legacy make a lot of money.
It makes a lot of sense. When I asked you about the short game versus the long game, what I'm wondering, I'm just thinking as a consumer, that when you're going down the aisle in the supermarket and you want to get syrup, I mean, you just pick that because it's what you grew up with.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, if the name changes, suddenly you're just one of 30 brands on the shelf.
But they were keen to, the logo, the colors are all the same. I mean, obviously you're not going to see, they had already taken the image of Aunt Jemima.
Yeah, but to some it's going to feel like a ripoff, Charles.
Yeah.
Some people might think, oh, they're just trying to rip off Aunt Jemima.
That's true.
I got to agree with you, because, whenever you go to stores, what they do is they have their own private labels. So that store, that grocery store usually has something that looks very similar as,
Right.
Your mother used to say, go get the no-name brand. Why are we buying the Jolly Green Giant? Peas are peas.
To your point, Damon, we had spoken to some of the ancestors of the women who portrayed Aunt Jemima, and they were upset about this. They felt that, yes, the name needed to be changed, but they felt like the company wasn't doing enough to honor, Nancy Green and their ancestors who portrayed Aunt Jemima. And so I get your point that there could be a backlash against the woke move of PepsiCo here.
And I do understand that PepsiCo is putting resources into helping, the Black community and systemic racism. So I'm not saying that they are wrong. I'm just saying that they could take more advantage of the opportunity, because it's not like they are a company that always is on the forefront of trying to, face issues like that. And they have supported people of color for many years. So I just think this is a missed opportunity where you can double the money.
Okay, you're the money man, so you got to help me out in this, because I don't understand it. products, consumable products, seem to be changing with the times. Sports teams are resisting. And the sports teams, to me, have it easier because you're not going to start confusing if the Kansas City Chiefs change their name like you might Aunt Jemima. Yet those sports teams are still resisting, and it doesn't seem there are economic consequences. What am I missing here?
Yeah, I think they don't have enough people around them telling them what's going on, or they just don't care. They're like, I made all my money. I bought the sports team, so I don't have to listen to you. And you can't change everybody.
I'm going to be really interested in seeing how this turns out for the Pearl Milling Company.
Well, I got to tell you something. I'm going to run out over the weekend, and I'm going to go and get me some syrup because I'm going to support Nancy Green. I'm hungry now.
What a phony excuse to make pancakes.
No, but you're right, though.
You want to borrow money? I'm going to collect every single Aunt Jemima bottle that I could buy right now, and I'm going to sell it in about 10 years for $1,000 a bottle.
There are definitely collector's items now, so.
Absolutely. Hey, this was great. This is so interesting. Thank you, Damon.
Thank you, guys.